Has there ever been an instance in your life where you've got this strong feeling that you should be doing something and you've just ignored it? Or you've had this gut feeling that something may be wrong and, again, you've ignored it just to find out later that there was something wrong? Or have you ever heard that little voice in your head just saying, oh, it's nothing, and then later you find out it's something? So we do get these promptings, these inner and outer promptings to act, and many times we don't listen to it because many times we're in a hurry. So on tonight's show, I want to talk to you about that. I want to talk to you about a book that of a new friend that I met. She, on our first meeting, she said, "Oh, there's a book that I know you're going to love," and she was right. So then I shared that with another friend who you're going to meet in a moment because she's with me, and she's going to share. I'm just laughing because you just disappeared. Okay, so you're watching the Hangout with Penny show, episode 34. 34 already. Oh my gosh. Thank you everybody for making me a weekly habit. Hang Out with Penny, Friday nights, 8 o'clock Eastern. And the purpose of my show is just to inspire you, empower you, uplift, have a few laughs. And for those of you that have been watching me for the past 33 episodes, now 34, and some of you this may be the very first time, well, you're going to know favorite things to do is to enjoy a sip of wine, to toast to a wonderful show, and to toast all you. And so, look what I got. Welcome to my show. I got show wine. So, cheers to a great show. That's nice too. So, another thing I love to do is I love to, what people are saying. I love to read the comments. They're so inspiring to me that what I'm doing is of value and that it's helping in some way. And that's really why I wanted to do this. So I'm going to read a few. Oh, I got them hid. All right. So Bettina Jensen from Denmark, she says, oh, and this is referring to episode 33. I just dropped it. It was on how to use self-hypnosis to achieve your goals. And it was Jackie McLean. So this is from Bettina from Denmark, and she says, Penny and Jackie, thanks. She says, probably wiser to watch the recording with my morning coffee than keeping the party going until 2 a.m. Looking forward. I'm sure it's going to be awesome. So that's the beauty of these Hangouts, is they're all recorded. As soon as this is done, I stop broadcast, then it's gone over to YouTube, and it's all recorded so you can watch it at any time that you want. So Cindy Poole, she's from New Zealand, and she says, she's watching backwards, Penny, from episode 33 back to episode 16. That's where she left off. Great show. Jackie, you are very funny and had good laughs. She said, thanks for this. I am from a born-again Christian and always been told that hypnosis is evil. So this is new to me. I tried to do what you suggested, but nothing happened for me. Hoping to try this again soon. Thanks, Jackie. You brought an element of fun into this. Penny, always love your wine of the week. You're going to love the show tonight. So thank you for Cindy. And yes, many times, I'll save that topic for another night. I was going to say sometimes certain religions can... Anyway, I'm not going to talk about that tonight. We're going to leave that alone. I also want to thank... I was saying that episode 32 was one of my most shared episodes, that people, the value they found from that show, they were sharing it with their friends and family. And it was all about one thing that Lucinda is very, very knowledgeable and professional and an expert in, and that's the power of our language. And so that's what that show was about. But anyway, last week's show, all about the self-hypnosis, that got shared a lot as well. So I want to give a shout out to Sandra Longmore from Washington, and she said another great show. Penny and Jackie, she shared the show. Debbie Talbert from Florida, she said, so wish I could have been on this show with you guys. I love hanging out with both of you. So Debbie Talbert, she shared it. Jeffrey X. Lane, he's from Victoria. If you remember him, he was on the He Said, She Said edition, which we are going to be doing another one. I need to contact you, Jeffrey. And Angela Morrison-Holm and Catherine Bear, both from Ontario. They both shared it as well. So thank you very, very much. Thank you very, very much, because it's all about awareness. And whatever, something could resonate with you, or you know somebody that some information, just a little bit could help. And that's the whole purpose of it. And that is why I want to talk to you tonight about Promptings, this book. This book. But before I do that, I want to bring Lucinda on. You've saw her before. We've talked about her journey having a child later in life and how that all happened, and so you want to check out the prior episodes on that one because it was a great show. So Lucinda, come out and say hi.
Hi everyone, how are you? I'm so excited to be here tonight because one of the things that I enjoy most about hanging out with Penny is just such a high vibe experience, and when you can speak with a kindred spirit, it's an amazing thing. So for me, as she mentioned, the power of positive words is one of the things that I do best. And I help individuals both in terms of how they might deliver a difficult message as well as deal with conflict management. What I really truly love to do, though, is to help parents as they are teaching their children and using positive parenting techniques. So you've heard a lot maybe about positive parenting or attachment parenting. That's a part of it, is just being able to use that language. So the reason why I'm so excited tonight is because this book in some ways represents things that have happened in my life, and it correlates with some other things that I've read from or learned from other people. And when Penny mentioned it, the first thing that went through my mind was, oh, I have to go get this book, and immediately.
And she did.
I got it for half price. What a deal, because it was at half price books. So it was just, it was a synchronicity, or perhaps you might even think of it as a God wink, law of attraction, all of those things just in terms of how we come together, both in terms of our spirit and the things that we're sharing with the rest of the world. So I'm very grateful to be here. Thank you.
Oh, I'm very happy to have you here. I have to give my book back because it was just lent to me. But it is one of these books that you want to have in the library. At least for me, it suits the kind of books that I keep in my library. Lucinda, you talked about children. Before we get into the book, I would like to share a story. I love going to the beach. And the other day, I went to the beach. I take my work. It's my beach office. So I take my work, my writings, whatever I'm doing at the time, and I go to the beach. And there was a father and son. The little boy, maybe 4 or 5. Something, maybe Nicholas, maybe a little bit older. They're playing catch. The little guy's got the glove, and the dad is like going, "Yay, wonderful, good job, son," and he's praising his boy, and I'm thinking, oh, good dad. Like, I'm just thinking, this is so wonderful to hear. And then I hear the dad say, "No, don't look at the glove. No, don't look at the ball," or the other way. "No, don't look at the glove. No, don't look." And then the little guy kept dropping the ball and kept dropping the ball and dropping the ball. And the dad's like, I tell you, don't look at the ball or don't look at the glove, whichever it was. And then he said, "Okay, tell me what you're doing wrong." And I thought, I just want... I had one of those prompting moments where I wanted to just go and say, "Sir," and I thought, wait a minute. That's not minding my own vibration. There's a time, but that was just... So, Lucinda, how could that conversation could have turned around to? Because the little boy now was getting frustrated because he kept dropping the ball.
First thing, both dad and son were frustrated, guaranteed. You know, you probably heard a little bit higher pitched no, or a higher pitched don't look. You know, don't look at the glove. You look at the ball. What he should have been telling him is what he wanted him to do. And this is a key principle that if if there is anyone out there who is having a conflict or who is trying to parent, please listen to what I'm about to say. You have to tell your children what you want them to do, not what you don't want them to do. And there's a very real reason in terms of our brain and our physiology. Our brains function in pictures. That means that for every word that you say, every thought that you have, every feeling that you've ever felt, it's attached to a picture right up here in our brain. So every time that dad was telling his son, don't look at the glove, what was going on was the son could only see a picture in his head of him looking at the glove. The dad could only see a picture in his head of his son looking at the glove. So what did the son do? Look at the glove, which what did that mean? That meant that there was no ball in sight. There's absolutely, like, the chances of that ball landing in the glove with him saying it in that way were slim to none.
Yep.
It would have been just pure chance, pure luck. So I always say this because sometimes we forget when you're trying to teach your children, it's very easy. We were probably taught, don't touch a hot stove, which meant we automatically wanted to. Or we were taught, don't touch that. Well, they're automatically going to want to do that. So rephrasing, just that one simple tweak will make all the difference in the world. There isn't any frustration. There is less frustration, more confidence, more love, more attachment. The other thing that I would have suggested to that dad is instead of saying, tell me what you're doing wrong, because all that's going to reinforce is, what is he doing incorrectly? What's he going to continue to do? I would have said, tell me what you did right. And if the only thing that little boy could say is, I stood here waiting for the ball, then so be it. You did that really well. So tell me what went well and use your positive words. When my son was really little, people were amazed because he wouldn't touch things, and I'm saying that deliberately. He wouldn't touch things because what I said to him was, look only with your eyes. And that stuck. So he knew that he could look, but to touch, it was not something that he could do. Look only with your eyes, honey. And he's like, okay, Mama.
It's so important.
Taking a bit of a tangent there, but yes, that's what I
know, but you know what? It's worth it because it's such a crucial bit of information, but it's so important to know and how to teach our children. And if our schools could just get this, and and so what did you do wrong, or what could you do right? Big difference in the vibration of those words. Huge difference.
Yeah.
Or you could say, oh, next time, what do you think you could do better?
Yes. Yeah.
Like, what do you think you could do better? Well, I could look at the ball next time, right? And his focus would not be, oh, I did it wrong, I kept looking at the glove. The focus would still be on the things that he did wrong. So that's going to lead me into this book.
Just one last thing on that.
Yep.
We sometimes do not, we forget how things can pile up. And so that one little frustration, they probably both ended that experience, instead of having had a wonderful time interacting with each other, felt that little bit of frustration. And if that's not dealt with, that's like that one layer brick in terms of building a wall between a dad and son. And so the other thing that is rare but is very, very powerful is being able to say to your child, I was wrong and I'm sorry. Yep. Mommy could have handled that differently, because I say that to my own son. Mommy should have said something different, and let's talk about this. Because again, it's that staying in relationship. I'm even more convinced now. That happens with our children. It happens with our spouse. It happens with our friends. The number one thing that if we can remember and stay in a positive language context in business and at home, it makes a huge difference. Huge difference.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's why I like this book so much.
Yes.
Because it certainly gives plenty of examples, life examples about these skills, exactly these skills. And what prompted the writing of this book, first of all, thank you, Kim Chomiak, because that's another law of attraction thing. I've been wanting to start my meetup group, in Wasaga Beach, and I've been putting it off and putting it off and putting it off, and I've been leaving it up to the law of attraction. It's like, okay, when the time is right. I get an email from this lady that signed up on my meetup, and she said, oh, well, can we get together and talk about when you're going to have a meeting? And I'm like, okay. And we got together, and look what's going on now. We're having a meeting. It's booked, and she's got me reading books, and she's a beautiful, beautiful woman. So I'm happy to meet her. So this book, how this came about is Cody Bateman. He was moving across the country, and his brother was across the street, and as he was pulling out of the driveway, he got an inner prompting. He got this nudge. He got this little voice that said, go see your brother and hug him and tell him you love him. He's like, we're in a hurry, like, we gotta go. He didn't listen. He let it go, and he just left. He waved, but he just left. He said, I'll see my brother. That was the last time he saw his brother. 2 months later, he found out that his brother was killed. So then, of course, you go through all this guilt, like I didn't go see him. But there's always a silver lining, and we all have a journey. My belief, we all have a journey, and we all have a time. And so he dedicated his life then to tell others the importance about when you get these little inner promptings to act on it. Mm-hmm. It could be something as simple as just call, or send a little email and say, hey, Lucinda, how you doing? You okay? Like, I was just thinking about you today. And many times they'll be like, oh, I'm so glad you called. And there's just so many times. There's one thing that I'm just going to share that, I mean, this is really insignificant, but I had this little voice in my head one day. I was driving home, so I still had about a 3-hour drive to go, and it was dark, and I think it was raining a little bit. So I pulled through the drive-thru to get a cup of coffee, and there was somebody there that really looked like they probably were hungry, and this voice said to me, I had $5 in my hand, this voice said to me, give him that $5. Mm-hmm. It was dark, and it was raining, and I ignored that, and I didn't do it, and that has played on me. I just think, like, what? Like, it was only $5. I could have just threw it out the window, and I didn't do it. So that's just pretty insignificant, but it's just
it isn't insignificant in that it drives you today. So if there would be a way to release the pain from that what if scenario and just use that as a spur to then continue now to listen to that prompting, then it is still a good that's come from that.
Oh, absolutely, because you know what happened? Maybe 2 years or so later, I was just driving down the back alley because it was kind of like a shortcut through town, and there was a man going through the dumpster. And I drove past him, and I'm telling you, Lucinda, viewers, it wasn't me that put my foot on the brake, because I really didn't even pay any attention. I just saw him there, right. And my foot went on the brake, and I backed up before I even knew what I was doing. Mm-hmm. And I said, I don't even remember what I said to him, but he says, oh, ma'am, I'm just looking for bottles so I could have something to eat today. And I had $20. It just so happened I had $20 on my seat. And I handed it to him, and I said, take the day off. And I drove away. It was like, and so I thought of that, and I thought, So, yeah. So that was a prompting. So these are promptings that we get all the time. And sometimes we don't listen to them. Like one time I didn't. But then sometimes they're more significant, like what happened with him. But he dedicated his life then to tell people about the importance of listening to the inner prompting and then the outer prompting of action.
Yes.
So, Lucinda, let's get into the book a little bit. Tell me, what was your favorite part?
Oh my gosh, you know what? There were so many favorite parts, and I had a couple of big aha moments. I guess there's a general comment that I wanted to make about the entire book is that he not only has he dedicated his life to paying attention to those inner and external promptings, he's created a mechanism so to remind everybody about the importance of taking a daily action. And that whole concept of consistent action is one that just keeps coming, coming to fruition. You'll hear this about entrepreneurs. The entrepreneurs who succeed are the ones who found whatever it is that they wanted to do and took consistent action. And there's a lot of times, I think, especially when we talk about law of attraction or intuition, people get caught up in the woo-woo part, and it's that inspired action, it's that behavior, it's that doing something about the prompting that's so important. So that was one of the, like, a general big, I really enjoyed reading the book because of that in and of itself.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing that I totally loved is he took bits and pieces from other people. So, for example, I'm really into synchronicity. Some people call them God winks. The whole idea of law of attraction. And as I was reading the books, one of the very first people that he mentioned is Lynn Grabhorn. And her book, Excuse Me, Your Life is Waiting, was one of those big. You talked a minute ago about having it in your library. Like, I have like a hard copy in my library. I have the audio on my phone. Like, this is one of those most amazing books for me. And the other one is T. Harv Eker with Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. Weaving in information from both of those two other sources, it was almost like, oh wow, he's like, we're kind of on the same wavelength. We hang out with the same type of self-development or progression in terms of spiritualness. However you want to phrase it, we're on the same wavelength. We're on the same vibe. And I think that's the other reason why it just connected with me so strongly. So.
Oh, absolutely. And for me too. I knew as soon as I started reading it, it's like, oh, because it was the easy read. Some books can get really into technicalities, but he shares life stories. He shares examples, and I learn by examples. I can learn quicker by listening to stories of actual things. So it makes me grasp things much easier, as opposed to getting into the technical and all this stuff. So this was an easy read for me, and very much hitting on all the topics. He also talks about Byron Katie's work and Eckhart Tolle's work. So these are people that resonate with me as well. And he's quoted Napoleon Hill. I actually have a quote. I wrote one really wonderful quote down by Henry David Thoreau, and he says, "The secret to achievement is to hold a picture of successful outcome in your mind." So that was very powerful, because one of the chapters was about, it was titled, "The stories of your mind become the stories of your life."
Yes. Actually, that was one of the things that when right after that, he made the statement, if the story in your mind changes, your actions change. And for me, I just went and I tweaked it a little bit, because it was like, when my story changes, my actions, my behavior is different, because it's all about us, and he wrote it as if he was speaking to us, but then when you internalize it even further, I mean, that's a big plus in my opinion. So.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And it really is about the stories, because in order for it to be out here, it has to start here.
Correct.
And hi, Nicholas. And whatever story you create here will show up here.
Yes. This is my living proof right here.
I know.
I didn't suggest that he come back here, but this is my living proof. I will say for years I had this desire to become a mom. I had all these promptings, and I paid attention to each one, and then doors would close and I'd get frustrated, and then I'd be like, you have those moments when you want to give up, and then I was prompted one more time, I actually talked with someone, and they finally said, well, why don't you just try to get pregnant? And I was like, no, I'm okay, I can adopt. But when I paid attention to what she said, and I was like, you know what, she's right, maybe I should just go get things checked out. Well, guess what? He was here about 10 months later.
Yep. I know. See, another one was about the I am statements, right? I am. But I truly believe in the I am statements, because someone said, oh, well, it's not true. I am rich. Well, here's my take on that. Because it happens in the mind first, If you just imagine that,
Yes.
I have a card here. Oh, it's stuck. So imagination,
Yes.
right? So it's true in our mind.
Yes. It has to be true in your mind first.
Yeah.
So even if you want to say, I am richer today than I was yesterday, there's a lot of people that will tweak it slightly to make it more comfortable for them.
Yes.
But the reality is still the power of the imagination, and how do you manifest that next?
It starts there, and many times we're focused on what we're living at the present moment. So maybe your bank account is like zero balance, and that's all you focus on, so you're going to continue to see that. But if you start saying, oh, you know, I can see, or I'm going to imagine right now my bank account growing, so I am getting more money in my life. I am, and then what are you going to do with it? So go beyond that. It's like after. So I am driving, or I am living in my mansion on the hill or whatever. Well, how does that feel like, right? So go deeper into the imagination. What do you get from that? How does that feel? So that was really important. And another one, Lucinda, I love this one, loosen the grip.
Oh, yes. So, I was, and he used such a simple analogy, talking about, you know, driving the snowmobile, and I was like, isn't it amazing that something that could be considered such an everyday action, but yet it has profound consequences? Because you're right, all you're going to do is, if you don't loosen up the grip, you can't function. And wow, do we not all need that? You know, like, if you can let go, all the flow starts to come into you. All of it. The abundance, what you want, what you desire, the new home, the new job, the new boyfriend, the new girlfriend, all of that. Just loosen up a little. Loosen it up. Have a little wine and loosen up.
Yeah. Because for us to be in that feel-good state, we need to relax. How do we do that? By loosening the grip. And just like law of attraction, right? We get so hung up and we're so tight on having that whatever it is that we want. Yeah. There's no room for it to come in.
Right. You can't allow.
There's no room for it to come in. We need to loosen up.
Yep. That whole valve is going, you know, so you're exactly right. Yes.
So I really recommend this book. He also started a company called Send Out Cards, and so that's a lot of the basis of the book, explaining about that as well, and how good it is just to do something good for somebody. So, you know, to send somebody a gift. I got a gift in the mail today, and it was like, oh my gosh, this was so nice. And it's just the thought that, oh, someone actually took the time to think about me and send me something. Whether it's an email card, or whether it's something in the mail, or whether it's just a quick, hey, thinking about you. Just many times, oh, I'll do it later, and we don't do it later. So it's just act on the promptings, and in order to have an enriched life, you need to enrich the lives of others.
And that goes on a personal note as well as business, because it's so, you know, one of the things that I tell business people all the time is you have to create a keep in touch system. And that keep in touch system that is personal, specific to them, is always going to get you better results than if you just send out a mass mailing.
Oh, yes. Well, we're almost out of time. I'm really keeping my shows to the 30 minutes or less, and but I want to mention the one more thing, that because you sent me some of your insights about the book. And one of the things that I really loved, and I love it too, is what he said. He said about writing the 5 things down that fulfill him, more or less. And he said he loves to read, he loves to write, loves to teach, loves music, and loves people. So when you focus on these 5 things, you'll prosper in all areas. So find what you love and stick with it.
Yes.
You wrote down what you love. I wrote down, you know what? Ours are very similar. We could go into business together, because we'd be traveling, drinking wine, teaching people, and be having fun.
Really, truly need to just, you know, like, pick those destinations, and we'll offer some seminars. People will come. It'll be awesome. I want to do related to the tennis, you know, with the majors. I definitely want to do one for the Australian Open. I definitely want to do one for Wimbledon. I'm telling you, we can do this.
Well, that's for sure. So before I come back for your final words, I'm just going to remind everybody, this is episode 34 of the Hangout with Penny show. I have a, excuse me, I have a problem here. I have a G+ community, and in that I'm On Purpose with Penny, I'm doing a 5-part video series on how to start your day the positive way. There's so many people in my life that I know that have, maybe even you will say, I'm not a morning person. Don't talk to me until my coffee. It's like, I don't wake up till noon. So it's all about our vibration, because if we can just change our vibration just a little bit, our whole entire world, our vibration gets higher. So I just want to share some videos on different ways that we can start our mornings off in a bit of a more positive approach to the day. So they're only for my community members. So hangoutwithpenny.com. Right on the home page, there's a place. Click the link, come into my community. I've had several new members in the last week, so that's wonderful. Next week, episode 35, the famous how-to guy for Law of Attraction, Michael Loge, he's going to be with me, and the beautiful Tana Marshall and Dana Smithers. We are going to be talking about caring for our parents, or just caregiving in general. We've all been put into at some time.
You can go in the other room.
I need to, and I can tell you, I need this show because I need to loosen the grip when it comes time to caring for my mom. Sometimes I get all tight, so I need to hear what these brilliant people have to say about how to loosen the grip on caregiving. Hey, maybe that's what I'll tell it.
Great title.
Yeah.
It's positive. It's positive, uplifting, and really truly what people need to do. Yes, good job on that title.
I know. Well, that's because I need to learn it. So anyway, Lucinda, final words.
You know, I think my final words are going to be sharing what those 5 things are that I love to do. I love to talk. Ooh, yes. I love to help people by teaching and telling stories, particularly about the power of positive language. If we use positive words in all aspects of our life, anything can happen. It's just that simple. Anything is possible. And I love to travel, I love to meet new people, and I especially love making a difference. So those are my things, and that's my final words. Thank you.
Oh, you do make a difference. Absolutely. I wrote mine down too.
Oh, good. Hear 'em.
I have so much paper. So I said, I love to read, I love to travel, I love to inspire people, I love learning and teaching, and I love talking, and I love wine. So I think I got the perfect job.
Most definitely.
So thank you, everybody, for watching. This is the Hangout with Penny Show, episode 34. Stay tuned for next week. Michael Loge, Tana Marshall, Dana Smithers, and Penny Peddie. And we're going to talk about loosening the grip on caregiving. So thank you for watching. See you next week.
Bye-bye.